my favorite Disney memory is
when I went to Disney World. I was watching the parade and I saw Peter Pan.
And Peter Pan was dancing and he had green lights all over his body.
And I started screaming, "Peter Pan! Peter Pan!" And then Peter Pan came over to me and he said,
"Do you want to be a real fairy princess?" And I said, "Yes."
He said, "Well, slap my hand."
And I said, "Okay."
And I slapped his head and he turned all white. And now I want to marry Peter Pan. I love Peter Pan. He's my favorite person.
I want to marry Peter Pan. I love Peter Pan. Hello and welcome. Today we are going to be talking about Peter Pan. Peter Pan was released in 1953, and so Wendy is Catherine Beaumont, who was also Alice, which now it makes total sense that Alice and Wendy look so similar alike to each other, and the people that are friends with Wendy and Alice are normally the same people. That makes so much sense now. I didn't realize that the voice was the same voice. And then Bobby Driscoll is also in this, who is Jim Hawkins in Treasure Island. So we do have, again, very recurring cast. You can see how tight-knit this is once you do some Disney films together. Just like any classic film, especially back in the 50s, there are some issues with this one. But I don't want to focus on that because it would take too long to cover. Instead, let me focus on the highlights of this. So, I love the songs. I love the songs. These are some of my all-time favorite songs. Second Star of the Right is such a classic and it can be so beautiful depending on who's singing it.
The second star to the right shines with the light. That's where I light so red. And if it's Neverland you need, it's light will lead you there. Here we go now. Here we go now. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, so I know just where you are. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, so I know just where you are.
As well as A Pirate's Life is a Wonderful Life, rolling over the sea. Be a career as a buccaneer.
Here's the life of a pirate for me. Oh, the life of a pirate for me. Oh, a pirate's life is a wonderful life without a care to behold. You dig for pleasure to find some treasure. Your pockets are loaded with gold. Oh, your pockets are loaded with gold.
They're fantastic. I really do like the storyline of it, and I like the characters, that the conflict is about growing up and how you don't want to grow up and you want to stay a kid. But at the same time, as an adult, I like being an adult, and I think there's so much pressure that has kind of been taken away now, but back then it was a lot more pressure that you couldn't have fun, you couldn't act silly, but you learn that you can. Like, you're not sacrificing anything and you get your own independence. So I actually like being an adult. I'm probably one of the few people that say that, but I like that. You have more freedom, you have more independence, and you have responsibility, of course, but I would not want to be a kid again because I can still do 90% of the same stuff that I can while being an adult that I could do as I was a kid. So that argument is a little bit invalid today, but I can understand back then that it was a higher conflict, especially in old Victorian London, where I believe this is supposed to take place, and they had to follow more strict rules back then, so I understand where they were coming from.
Young lady, this is your last night in the nursery, and that's my last word on the matter.
However, there are lots and lots and lots of problems with the characters and the underlying racism of this film. First of all, I want to start with the father, because the father is portrayed as a villain-ish type of character in the beginning, especially when he's taking the dog out, but I feel terrible, terrible, terrible for this dog. This dog should not be a maid. This dog should be treated with respect, and they don't. Nana is not your maid. You are supposed to take care of Nana. So the conversation that he has with Nana saying, you're not a maid, you're a dog, and dogs should be sweet, and you're just abusing her. So I don't like the family already for the fact that the Darlings basically have an indentured servant as their dog.
Dash it all, Nana, don't look at me like that. It's nothing personal, it's just that... Well, you're not really a nurse at all. You're, well, a dog. And the children aren't puppies. They're people. And sooner or later, Nana, people have to grow up.
Then we get to the whole Peter Pan, Wendy, Tinkerbell, the mermaids fiasco. Peter Pan is a man boy, and he is a jerk. I don't understand why everyone has this obsession with Peter Pan. He's treated like he's Justin Bieber, that he can do no wrong. They're actually very similar now that I think about it, but every single girl loves him and every single girl hates on Wendy because he's her guest. Tiger Lily too. I don't understand why every single female character is basically fallen over in love with Peter Pan. I don't understand the greatness of him. I think he's very childish. Obviously, he doesn't want to grow up. He refuses to grow up, so he is childish. He's a gigantic man boy, and he's a boy. He's not, no. I never liked Peter Pan. I think that he could do so much better, and obviously they're children, so they don't know any better, but at the same time, I just don't see it.
It's Peter. Oh! Hello, Peter. Hello, Peter.
Hello, girls.
I'm so glad to see you. Why did you stay away so long? Did you miss me? Tell us one of your adventures. Something exciting.
Want to hear about the time I cut off Hook's hand and threw it to the crocodile?
Oh, I've always liked that one. Me too.
Well, there I was on Marooner's Rock, surrounded by
Oh,
40
Peter.
or 50 pirates.
Oh, she.
Huh? Her? Oh, that's Wendy.
A girl. What's she doing here? And in her night dress, too. Come on, dearie. Join us for a swim. Oh, please, I'm not dressed. Oh, but you must. We insist. No, please. Too good for us, eh? If you dare to come near me again...
Wendy! Hey, we're just having a little fun. Weren't you, girls?
That's all. We were only trying to drown her.
You see?
He doesn't even care that the mermaids are wanting to kill Wendy. He just thinks it's hilarious, and then he's like, oh, it's no big deal, but it is. He's trying to kill you, Wendy. I don't know why you want to support him. No, you could do better. Tinkerbell as well. She's also like this cult follower of Peter Pan. But at the same time, I'm glad to see as we go further in how they kind of fleshed out Tinkerbell in her own films with the fairies. I'm really glad that they gave her her own character because I really love the character of Tinkerbell, and I love how feisty she is. Even back then though, we had weight issues that she thought that her butt was too big and her hips are too wide. Not today. Nope, she would be flawless. She would have the most perfect body now, but back then they had such different body values. So it's interesting, but I really do love Tinkerbell. Tinkerbell's one of my favorites. I love how feisty, I love how sassy she is, but she still helps and she still sacrifices for the greater good. The whole conflict between Hook and Peter Pan, I really don't understand. Hook, the only reason that he's villain is because he's obsessed with Peter Pan as well. I don't know what he did to him. There's not that much of a backstory. They just hate each other and they want to constantly fight. So both of them are very immature people. But besides that, there's nothing really villainous about Captain Hook. He just hates Peter Pan. And that's like a normal thing. People hate each other and people want to just get revenge on each other. That doesn't make them a true villain. I like Hook. I feel bad for Hook. They actually kind of just screwed everything up for Hook because of this huge conflict. And if Peter Pan actually did grow up, there would be no conflict. we wouldn't have to worry about it. He would be a nice gentleman, and then Hook can go on his pirate adventures and not have to worry about it. I mean, yeah, he shoots a man for singing, but besides that, people do that all the time.
The life of a pirate is short.
Plus, I mean, Hook's only fear is of TikTok. And look at this little face. He's adorable. Why would you be afraid of this? I do understand the time period though, and values were a lot different back then. That also includes the entire segments dealing with any Indians and cowboys. It was a different generation, so even though we have scenes like this, and this, and this.
Let's go back a million years to the very first Injun prince. He kissed some maid and started to blush, and we've all been blushing since. You got it right from the headman, the real true story of the red man, no matter what's been written or said.
We have to remember the time and place it took and was created, and we are a completely different generation than that generation was. So what we do is we learn from our mistakes, basically. And I'm sure generations in the future will be completely different from our generation right now. So we learn from one another. Overall, I really do appreciate this film. The animation is flawless, the songs are great, and the story is very unique and original, and it's still something that you can enjoy even with a little bit of the flaws that are a part of it. It's still very enjoyable, and again, it's also only an hour and 15 minutes around, so it's a short film that you can watch and just put on and have fun with. And that's what it is. Tomorrow, we're gonna be taking a look at some more adventure films, so you can stay tuned, and as always, I hope you have a magical day, and I will see you real soon.